Still. Right, stand at 8.
Good morning and welcome. It's a great privilege for us to be here today, because normally when we carry out acts of remembrance, it is on a parade ground or somewhere else, hundreds or thousands of miles away from the battlefield. And although we're a long way from Gallipoli, today we're here standing on board or next alongside this ship, which served a small but vital part in that campaign. And it helps build a connection between ourselves today, looking back to our ancestors who fought in that campaign. A reading from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rent, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace. Here ends the lesson.
Reading a quote from Mustafa Kemal Atatürk.
Reading a quote from Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. Those heroes that shed their blood and lost their lives, you are now lying in the soil of a free country. Therefore, rest in peace. There is no difference between the Johnnies and the networks to us when they lie side by side in this country of ours. You, the mothers who sent their sons to faraway countries, wipe away your tears. Your sons are now lying in our bosom and are in peace. After having lost their lives on this land, they have become our sons as well.
On this Anzac Day, as we stand on monitor M33, the last surviving ship of the Gallipoli campaign of 1915, we remember all those that lost their lives on and around that peninsula. Our thoughts are drawn especially towards the people of Australia and New Zealand, as today they commemorate all those who serve their nations in uniform and those that continue to serve to this day. In 1915, men from many nations and backgrounds fought to defend or to capture that small peninsula, far away from their homes and families. They came from Australia and New Zealand. They came from Turkey and Germany, from India and Newfoundland, from France and from Britain. On M33, the ship's company of 72 were crammed together on board for over 3 years. Their role was to patrol close into shore, give gunfire support to the troops on land. They faced the Turkish guns in what is frankly little more than a sardine can. M33 was a lucky ship in that campaign. She suffered no losses to that crew. But over 130,000 men did lose their lives. 2/3 of those from Turkey, over 8,700 from Australia, and over 2,700 from New Zealand. And when you come on board here and visit, all of those men are memorialised as part of our presentation. Clive James, the Australian writer and poet, wrote that the meaning of this war is fading, even as the myth grows. Almost all our dead were civilians in peacetime, and the aching gaps they left were not in the barracks, but on the farms and factories, in the suburbs and the small towns. As we remember those extraordinary people that fought and sacrificed in 1915, we also remember the different sacrifices being made today, particularly here in HM Naval Base Portsmouth, the contributions to security and humanitarian aid that are being made by the Royal Navy, the Royal Marines, the Royal Fleet Auxiliary, even today. To conclude, Clive James left these poignant words. Sacrifice is a large word, but no word can be large enough for that small moment.
In a moment, we'll be listening to the familiar Ode to the Fallen to mark the act of remembrance, but before we do, we'll be hearing it in New Zealand to reflect the contribution of the many different countries and ethnicities and cultures who are present at Gallipoli.
E kore rātou e kau mātotia. Pēnei i a tātou ko mahui nei. E kore hoki rātou e ngoi kore. Aha ko pēhea i ngā āhuatanga o te wā. I te hekinga atu o te rā. Tainoa ki te aranga mai i te ata. Ka maumahara tonu tātou ki a rātou. Ka maumahara tonu tātou ki a rātou.
They shall grow not old, but that we are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember.
Arise!